Layla and Majnun. In ancient Arabia, golden dunes shimmered under the scorching sun, and the whispering winds carried tales of love and sorrow across the endless desert. It was in this vast, sunburnt land that a boy named Qays and a girl named Layla were born. They grew up in the same village, first meeting as children, innocent and pure. But fate wove its threads around them, entwining their souls like stars chasing one another in the night sky. As time passed, their love deepened, clear as an oasis spring, wild as a desert storm, untamed by any force. But destiny is seldom kind to passionate hearts. Layla came from a noble lineage, while Qays was merely an ordinary man. In their world, love did not belong to the heart. It belonged to family, honor, and tradition. Their love burned so brightly that soon rumors of it reached Layla's father. Outraged and fearful of the scandal, he was determined to extinguish this romance before it could bring shame upon his name. Layla was confined within the high walls of her home, like a nightingale trapped in a gilded cage, never to see Qays again. And Qays, the boy whose laughter once danced like the wind, was left with nothing but sorrow in his eyes. His heart felt hollow, his world meaningless without Layla. He could not accept their separation, could not survive in a world devoid of her presence. He lost his mind. Qays abandoned his name, forsaking all ties to the world of men, and wandered deep into the desert. He fell to his knees in the swirling sands, letting the scorching grains slip through his fingers, just like the love he could never hold on to. His lips murmured only one name, Layla. Every whispered word was a poem of longing, every breath a prayer for her. His lament echoed through the winds, reaching far and wide, and people began calling him Majnun, the madman, the one driven insane by love. But he did not care. He no longer belonged to this world. His soul followed only Layla. Every step he took led him toward her, even though all that lay ahead was endless dunes and a sky full of stars. Within the cold, towering walls of her home, Layla's heart bled in silence. Each day, she sat by the window, her eyes searching the horizon. Though she could not see Majnun, she could feel his presence. She whispered his name into the wind, hoping it would carry her love to him across the desert. But her fate was no longer hers to decide. Her father's will was ironclad, and she remained shackled by duty. Eventually, her father arranged a marriage for her, one deemed fitting for her status. On her wedding day, the finest silk adorned her, jewels sparkled upon her pale skin. Yet, her lips trembled, and her gaze was as lifeless as an abandoned temple. Her soul was not in that palace. It had long since wandered into the desert, following the madman. When Majnun learned that Layla had been given to another, he did not weep, nor did he curse fate's cruelty. He merely turned away, walking further into the wilds, farther from the world of men. His love had transcended earthly bonds. It no longer required reciprocation. His poetry became legend, his name a myth whispered by those who longed for love beyond measure. Layla's days became stagnant, each moment flowing like water in a still pond. The grand halls of her new home were nothing but a prison. Her smile faded, her eyes dulled, as if life itself was slowly draining from her. She waited, always waiting, for the one she could never have, for the warmth she could never touch again. At last, her body succumbed to the weight of longing. One quiet night, she slipped away as gently as the last golden ray of twilight. Her lips quivered as if still whispering Majnun's name. When the news reached the desert, Majnun stood in silence for a long time. No tears fell from his eyes, only an infinite emptiness remained. He dragged his weary body to her grave, as if his entire life had merely been a journey to this final moment. Lying beside her resting place, he gazed up at the boundless stars. The wind stirred softly, carrying a voice only he could hear. He closed his eyes, his lips curling into the faintest smile, as if at last he had found her in his dreams. His soul rose with the breeze, drifting away to eternity, where Layla awaited him. Since then, the desert winds have never ceased whispering their names, a love so pure even time could not erase its legend.